Welcome back to the channel. I am really glad you're here. Today I'm going to show you how to get great results spreading dirt with your front end loader.
Welcome to my cluttered garage. You know I'm really glad you're here. Yeah!
Before we get started, let me just say that I am not a professional. I'm just going to share some things with you that I have learned using this Kubota B2601 compact tractor that have worked really well. And I've seen this used on other tractors. It's kind of watching other professionals, no, not other professionals, watching professionals use their equipment. And I was able to emulate some of that on my compact tractor. So let's do a little walk around first. The first thing you need to know, and I've shared this on several other videos, is if you're going to use a front end loader, you've got to have rear ballast or weight on the back of your tractor. Now, my tractor has fluid-filled tires, which adds several hundred pounds, but that's still not always enough, especially if you're going to move something heavy like rocks or dirt. If you're using mulch, that's fine, but rocks or dirt, you need more weight than what's filled in these tires. So I usually put my grader box on the back or some type of implement. I happen to have my rototiller on the back now, which is extremely heavy, so I have no problem with balancing out the load. So first and foremost, make sure you have weight on the back of the tractor if you're going to use that front end loader. Now from the operator's platform here, there's a few things I want to share with you. First of all, anytime I use the front end loader, I use low gear. The other thing I always use when using the front end loader is four-wheel drive. Almost all the compact tractors today that I've seen have four-wheel drive. So anytime you're using the loader, use four-wheel drive because you're going to be putting a lot of weight on the front of that tractor. And if you're just using rear-wheel drive, that weight is going to come up off the back end a little bit and you won't have as much traction. So by having the front wheels engaged with all that weight, you're going to have a lot better traction. So I say always use four-wheel drive. The other thing, for safety reasons, keep your seatbelt on when you're using your loader. I've talked about this also in other videos, but when you're raising your bucket up, you want to keep it as low as possible to keep your center of gravity low. But sometimes you do have to raise your bucket up higher than the hood of the tractor. And if you're raising your bucket and you're maneuvering the tractor, you might hit a dip in the front end and that could shift the weight and the tractor could tip over. You have to be really, really careful about the terrain that you're driving on and the way you're operating your tractor. So keep that seatbelt on. You really should use it all the time when you're using your tractor, but especially when you're using the front end loader. As you know, I also really like my Deerskin leather gloves. Now, let's get on with the demonstration. The front end loader has basically 4 directions: up and down, curl, and dump. Those are your 4 directions that your front end loader moves in. There are a couple other functions in your stick here. One of them is float. We're going to use that. Then there's also a quick dump feature and a slower feature. We're going to be using that quick dump to help us level the bucket. It's really a handy thing to do. So let's start it up. So again, the 4 directions are up and down, curl, and dump. One of the first things I do when I attack a pile of dirt like this is I mix it up. I just go in and out, break it up, because I don't want to have clumpy dirt, I want to have nice loose dirt. So I run about 1500 RPM. Lower the bucket, bring it in, scoop it up, dump it out, pull the dirt back, just mix it up so you have something nice to work with. Now when I attack the pile, I lower my bucket and I level it. And here's a great way to level it. Curl your bucket all the way back, lower it all the way down, and then use the quick dump feature kind of feel when the bucket hits the ground level because it stops. You know, it doesn't always pick the tractor up. Like in this case, it won't pick the front of the tractor up. So I just dump until it stops, and now I know that bucket's level. Then I take a little bit of pressure off the front wheel so they sit back down. So now my bucket is level, and I'm gonna plow right into this pile. Once you go into the pile, as far as it'll go, the tractor will start to bog down. You'll know that it's pretty much reached its limit. Then you start to curl back, and the dirt falls into the bucket. I'm gonna run up to 2,000 RPM now. Then I back up a little bit and pick up the bucket. Now here's where you can raise the bucket up a bit, because you want that dirt to fall back into the bucket. And use the hydraulics to your advantage. See how you can kind of tap the stick, shifts the dirt. And once you have the dirt shifted into the bucket, set it back down. Keep that center of gravity low. I'll dump that out, and we'll just do it in real time. Let's say we're going to spread this dirt. Get our bucket full. Now let's pretend we're at the new location. When you dump the bucket out, you dump it out, you want to pour the dirt out and move backwards while you're doing it, and that'll help initially spread some of the dirt. And again, use these hydraulics, you can bump it to kind of knock the dirt out like that, just quickly tapping your stick. Now that's not bad, but it's bumpy. So now we're going to spread it out, and this is where your float function comes in. So bring your bucket down to about a 45-degree angle, maybe even less than that. Drop your bucket all the way down, and push your stick all the way forward so you go into the float function. And now that bucket will just kind of ride there and follow the dirt. And as you pull back, you level your bucket out, and it spreads the dirt very evenly. That's already much smoother. You can do it several times though. But it's all one motion. As you're going back, you're curling the bucket as well. Float function, start to curl it back. Level something out, you can leave it there longer. Got a little high spot here, so I'll just push that forward a bit. You can maneuver your dirt with the edge of the bucket too. What's great about hydraulics is they're very precise. You can move your loader so gently. take a look at that. Boy, that looks really nice. And again, one key element is work your dirt before you start spreading it. That way you don't have clumps, you have nice, smooth dirt to spread out. So the other thing is, don't rule out a little bit of manual labor. Get yourself a good hard rake, and as you knock down the edges, you can really spread that out. Pull out some of the debris. Might find some big rocks or something in there. It doesn't take much just to use the rake. Fill in any low spots if you need to. Just lightly run the rake over top of it. Boy, that's nice. Now what if you're removing soil from the surface of the ground? Let's talk about that. So when I pick up dirt, I use a similar function. I level the bucket out, take the pressure off the front wheels, and keep that bucket level or maybe curled back just a degree or two, so it's not digging into the ground. I don't use the float function in this case. I want to keep that frame solid so that it's digging into the dirt. Then I just drive in. You may need to adjust the bucket a little bit as you go, but for the most part, it's just pushing in, kind of like a dozer. And when you get to the end, curl your bucket back. And look at that, you've got yourself a nice full bucket of dirt. I'll take another skim coat off the top of that. You don't have to dig a lot. You know, you can just do it in steps and stages. Here I'm lifting up a little bit just to take the weight off the front. Curl it back. Nice big bucket full. And you can clean that up the way we did before. Put the bucket in float on an angle. Curl it back as you back up. And if you don't want to do that manual labor, just clean up your edges the same way. Quick side note, as you're driving into the pile, once your wheels start to break ground, you pretty much want to stop. You don't want to be digging in and making ruts because that's going to make it more difficult to get nice, even loads of dirt. So once you break ground, just stop, take the weight off, and back up. Well, thanks for watching today. If you found that tip helpful, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button. I invite you to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to know when I'm putting out videos in the future, just click that little bell icon and make it turn gray. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments, and I'll see you next time. The bees are really active today. I've been hearing a lot of buzzing, and I wonder if we're getting ready to swarm. Not sure if you can hear that or see that, but they are everywhere. I grabbed my phone here and I found the swarm up there in that tree. Come here, camera. Come here, camera. Come on, camera. Ah, got you. I got you. I saved you, camera. I saved you.